Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Valley Life. I'm Rich Kreps, and I want you to take note of that sign because that is an absolute hidden treasure right here in our valley. California Learning Connection are helping people, whether you've got autism, dyslexia, any kind of speech therapy you may need, occupational therapy. Unbelievable the different parameters that they're putting into place and helping people here at the California Learning Connection. Once you've seen the sign, it's just off Shaw, next to the Piccadilly Square. Very easy to find once you turn into the complex, but getting here is always the tough part. I'm going to go in right now and find the directors. You've got to meet Kathy Wage and John Goodfellow, both directors here of the California Learning Connection. And there they are right there. When you want to go to the top of anything, you find the directors. John, how are you? It's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
And Kathy, how are you?
Good to see you, Rich.
Very excited about this. The building you've created, the programs you've created. We have a summer program coming up that is fantastic, and I want to get right into the details because we're not even going to have a chance to show everything that you guys offer here. So maybe give me a little background on what this summer program entails, and then we'll kind of get into the details a little.
Well, summer is the perfect time to really give your child a big boost in terms of learning. And the children that we normally serve have learning challenges. During the summer, those kids don't have the extra burden of doing their schoolwork and homework, so they can really focus and get down to providing those underlying skills that will help them do better the following year. And we have the right programs to make that happen.
Perfect. Now, as a speech-language pathologist, your then main focus is helping people get those verbal communication skills back up to par.
Yes, verbal communication, absolutely. But really the foundation for reading and writing are your language skills. Okay. So all of it ties together, and as a speech pathologist, we know all the building blocks and can make things sequential so that they work well.
Got it. So John, as an occupational therapist, everything still gets tied in. You guys all work closely together to make sure you're well-rounding this education.
That is correct. We work closely with the speech pathologist and the occupational therapist because children also have difficulty with their fine motor skills, which can impact their performance in their academics at school. Okay. So we work closely with them to help them improve like their written communication.
Perfect. Now, there's several other rooms, too. We're looking at a computer facility right now that I see people are just completely interacted to with one-on-one. There's also a lot more that you offer besides just this room right here.
Absolutely. We offer reading programs and music and art and all to develop language and literacy skills.
Okay. Well, let's mosey over to another room and see if we can't show a little more of what's happening, because I think once people see the facility you've created, they're going to be overwhelmed by how much there is to offer. So, great. Okay, here we go. So another part of the facility.
Yes, Rich, what we have here is our tutoring room. And we have spent a lot of time researching the right reading programs that are really designed for kids who have learning challenges that are very specific. Those that might be called dyslexic, those children who have early speech and language problems, who later also have problems reading, those children who get to this point in their education where they just can't get over the next wall. So we have the programs and the trained tutors to help them with those very special skills.
Until you've got an issue like dyslexia or something that's just really holding you back on some of your learning performance, you don't realize how debilitating it can be. But once you break through and you get on the right path, that makes everything change.
Absolutely. And you know what? There is no right age to work on this. You can work on it throughout your lifetime. And so we actually work with college students and adults as well.
You know, I've said in our interviews, too, I kept talking about children, but that's great that you brought out the age ranges. Is there a specific age range, or you just said college students to adults? You kind of run the gamut.
We do run the gamut because as speech therapists, we handle communication problems throughout the lifetime. So really anything within a lifetime time frame is an important thing to address if it affects communication of some kind.
John, are there certain issues that you see that maybe after they've been doing certain things for a while, maybe we're in 4th, 5th grade, something along those lines, that all of a sudden spark up and you realize there's a trigger, let's go fix that?
A lot of kids get referred for occupational therapy because they have difficulty with their handwriting skills. And there could be a lot of reasons why handwriting is difficult. It could be that they have poor balance, they have poor two-handed coordination, and they may have poor visual perceptual skills. So a lot of those children also have challenges, and so we'll work with children so they can have better written communication and better handwriting.
This kind of goes back to your multifunctional, the multimodality approach you guys were talking about with me before the show, that you want to attack things from several different angles because it may not be one key point that is the trigger for why they're not reaching a certain goal.
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of times parents or even the schools will just identify one concern that the child is having, but it could be a lot of underlying reasons that are not really coming to the forefront, but we're able to tease those reasons out and really put the child on the right pathway to learning.
Kathy, what's the best way to approach this? People just need to pick up the phone and call you, and then how does the initial process go where they start the interview and then you realize, okay, this is the approach we want to take?
Well, right now we're talking about our summer program, and so really picking up the phone and talking to us about it directly. We're offering programs that really address the whole child and all the learning needs, and summer, again, is the right time to address this. So pick up that phone and give us a call, and we can even send you our summer brochure.
I sure appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much. I hate barging in on you and work like this, but appreciate the information. Thank you so much. California Learning Connection, give the folks a call right now and get started on the right path so that all of a sudden those goals just start falling into place. Don't go anywhere. There's more Valley Life coming up right after this. And there they are, the people that make it happen. You know what? I'm thinking it's not really a job when you get to play every day, is it, Kathy? How are you?
Oh, no, playing is what it's about.
Good. John, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good. So is this really considered a job? I know you both have gone through a ton of education to get to this point, but this is what it's all about. This is a whole lot of fun here in occupational therapy. John, this is kind of, this is your bread and butter right here, isn't it?
You know, therapy often looks like play, and a lot of people come in and say you're just playing with the kids, but therapy has a purpose. We work with kids who have coordination difficulties and just need help in everyday life skills. So we see a wide range of children who have severe disabilities. We see children with like autism, cerebral palsy, to kids who just have coordination difficulties that are impacting their everyday life skills.
Kathy, what I love about both you and John's specialties is how you blend them together, too, to make sure the whole package is being created. So being a speech-language pathologist, you're still incorporating all of that while the play and the motor skills are developing.
Absolutely. You know, if the kids are having fun while they're learning and practicing skills, then that improves the whole brain response. And so it's really about neurology and making the neurology just right for learning. And fun and good endorphins in the brain make it possible.
Perfect. Now, John, tell me a little bit about the programs. We've talked a little in the past about summer programs, when school's in session and everything. You kind of tailor the work based on each of your clients and what their needs are.
Yeah, so what we do when we start working with a child, we do an assessment and we talk with the parents and we look at what their strengths and what their challenges are and what they need help with. And so they come in and say a child is having a hard time throwing a baseball. And part of that reason may be that they have poor balance. So we may bring a child in here and work on balance and then help them work on their upper body coordination so they can toss that baseball. So stuff like that.
It's got to be very rewarding in your profession that all of a sudden, you see that breakthrough and everything clicked and all of a sudden, a child just goes, wait a minute, I get it now. That's got to be super rewarding for you and probably part of the reason you're doing what.
Oh yeah, I love what I do. Kids, and what's great about this, kids love therapy and kids have a great time with coming in therapy, and it really impacts their confidence in their everyday life because they're getting their skills stronger and they're getting more coordinated. So it makes them, when they go to school, when they go to the park, they just feel much more positive about themselves.
Kathy, when they call a learning center, then what's the initial process? How do they get started? And what's the initial consultation before you decide this is the right path for them?
Well, we want to be sure we're the right place for parents and kids. And so we offer free 30-minute consultations so a parent can sit down, express their concerns, tell about their child, and we can think about them and decide whether we should refer out to somebody else or whether we're the right place to serve them, whether we have the skills and the right programs that will make their lives better.
Sure. And never to bash on the education system, but there's so many kids that are involved. Lots of times those get fall through the crack and they get kind of lost. Where here, when they come to see you guys, it is very specialized, very one-on-one. You probably see a very fast progression as people start going through those motor skills, the speech skills, and making huge advancements.
Yeah, there's a big reason why we get good results, and I think it's called synergy because we've got the motor skills going, we've got the speech and language expertise, we have the parent with us as a partner. And when all those things are working together, you see much better progress in a child who is struggling. So it really makes a difference.
And what I see is that have all these services under one roof. We're the only place in town where you can go for speech therapy, occupational therapy, academic tutoring. So parents don't have to go from one site to another. They can get it all here. And we do a great job with helping families here.
Now, are there set hours that people have to be here, or do you kind of tailor that then to each individual's learning plan?
Well, we're open from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and we work with the families on their schedule to get them to come here. And based on the child's needs, we determine the hours of therapy they need during the week.
And again, this is just a fragment of what you offer here. The building is huge. There are so many different specialized rooms that you can really then tailor and say, look, this is what we're going to work on today, and take them into a completely different room and be way more specific.
Absolutely. We have programs that deal with all the academic skills, computer-based skills that really enhance learning. We have speech and language rooms where we do individual therapy. We even have a yoga room where we do movement and music and more exploration that ties in the movement aspect of what the OTs do with what the speech and language people do.
Okay. Hey, John, do you find that lots of times when you're setting these plans for each individual kid, it's just one little thing that just wasn't clicked or got lost in some part of the education, and now all of a sudden you've broken free through that and you see them just grow by leaps and bounds?
You know, that happens all the time. The reports we get back from parents about how they're doing better in school, how much they're doing better in everyday life, how their behaviors improve, confidence improves. So we just see really great success with a lot of the children that we work with.
John, Kathy, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get back to work, but very impressed by the facility you've created here. So thank you so much. Folks, pick up the phone right now. California Learning Connection, give them a call. The possibilities are endless, and start unlocking all the potential of every child that walks through the door right here. Pick up the phone and call them. Don't go anywhere. There's more Valley Life coming up right after this. There they are. Kathy, John, how are you two doing today? Kathy, I'll start with you. How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
Good. John, how you doing today?
Doing great.
Good. I'm so excited to see both of you. I kind of want to put everything into perspective because, Kathy, your specialty as a speech-language pathologist obviously is getting those verbal communication skills. Combined with what you do with John and occupational therapy and even the academic enrichment, everything has to come together to make everything work. Is that kind of how it plays out?
That's exactly right. And oftentimes the first thing that a parent will notice is their child isn't talking, or they're not talking the way they want them to talk. And so they come in for speech and we do our assessments, and then we start noticing that there are motor things that are happening too. And so we might get an occupational therapist involved, and then something happens called co-treatment very often, where the speech therapist and the OT work together, and because of the movement and because the whole body is energized, you get much more language and much more speech, and the whole process is made easier.
You find greater successes too when you're doing the all-encompassing type of approach, so that you're attacking things on multiple fronts instead of just let's address this single issue.
Exactly, and especially for children who might be on the autism spectrum, that approach seems to work especially well.
Okay, perfect. And John, you tie in then as an occupational therapist, you tie in what you do with speech therapy then just to enhance the effects and make sure that the goals are reached faster.
Exactly. We work a lot on their motor skills and a lot on their play development skills. And a lot of kids, when they're playing, they become more verbal. And so we may be working on some basic coordination things, or having a child on a swing. And as they're swinging, we see a lot of spontaneous language come in. And that's where speech therapy really comes in, because then they can help foster the growth of their language skills.
Now, Kathy, I always like to emphasize children, and I think that's best, to catch things early. But this isn't just about children. A lot of what you do covers the spectrum from basically birth well into adulthood.
Yes, on the speech therapy side, we have to handle issues that deal with communication throughout the lifespan. So all those issues are really in the realm of speech therapy practice.
Now, how do people get involved? Do they just pick up the phone and call to make that initial consultation? Do you have to go through the interview process to make sure that you're able to help and that you're the right fit for those people?
A phone call will get you a consultation with either John or myself, and by sitting down and talking about what the concerns are, we figure out whether we are the right people to be helpful to you, and if not, we can refer out, or if we are, we will tell you what kind of programs that we have that would be the best.
The great thing about your programs, John, is you really emphasize the one-on-one. If you can, the group development is great, and I'm sure that factors into it. But if people need the one-on-one specialties, you can make that happen for them to, again, achieve those goals.
Right. Most of the children we work with are one-on-one, but a lot of times they have social skill challenges outside of therapy. So once they've done really well one-on-one, we start moving in more towards a group so they can work on it with other children and start developing that social development during play.
Okay. And because you guys are so specialized, it doesn't have to be, hey, this is our 6-week program. People need to pick up the phone right now and call, and there may be different types of groups and schedules and classes that they can be fitting in to, again, use that whole encompassing approach.
I think that's one of our strengths, is that we customize what we're doing so well to what the needs are of the individual that's coming to see us. So we create programs to meet the needs, not having people come in to meet our program's guidelines.
Sure. And the rewards far outweigh all the schooling you've had to go through to get to this point, John. When you start seeing that breakthrough and all of a sudden the different clients all of a sudden, wait a minute, this is all making sense now. That's probably what makes your day go by much faster.
You know, it's great. I go to work and I play with kids all day long, and I have a great time. The kids are making progress. The families we work with are seeing just tremendous gains in their children. So it really makes what I do very gratifying.
And Kathy, this is the time of the year to be doing this. They may not have got the individual attention throughout the school year. So now if we approach things in the summertime to get them ready, they may have well caught up. Maybe they weren't even behind in the first place. They may far advance the rest of the classes that they go back to school with.
Yeah, some of the pressure is off during the summer in terms of meeting the school schedule needs. So it's a perfect time to really refocus, rethink what's going on, and give a boost to the learning.
Do you find that it's just as rewarding then for the other employees that you've got here? They've got those great credentials and they realize, you know what, this is exactly where I need to be right now, enriching people's lives.
Yeah. One of my therapists said, this is therapy heaven. Nice. It is really nice because we have as much fun as the kids do.
Perfect. Now, we talked about speech language therapy, occupational therapy, but it's also about academic enrichment.
Yes, we also have academic enrichment programs, and we can really heavily focus that on the summer to help children who have reading difficulties, math difficulties, and we have programs for that as well during the summer.
I think the most difficult part of what you've got here at the Connection is finding it. You're just off Shaw, but you're kind of right, back by the Piccadilly area, and you've just got to find that outlet to get to you guys. But once they see the sign, they know they're at home.
Right. We're very happy to give directions, and we do it very many times during the day.
And the easiest thing then is to pick up the phone and you'll walk the people right in.
Exactly.
I love it. Kathy and John, thank you again so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and you've created something really special here. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you.
Pick up the phone, call the California Learning Connection. They've got all kinds of programs to help you achieve those goals and make the successes that you've been reaching for. Don't go anywhere. There's more Valley Life coming up right after this.